Good evening, and welcome to Isleta Independent School District's meeting of the Board of Trustees. We invite you to share your comments with the board during the public comment portion of our meeting. Legally, the board may listen but may not enter into discussion on the issue raised. This meeting of the Board of Trustees is called to order at 6:04 p.m. We have a quorum with Charlie Bustillos, Soltero Ramirez, Richard Cuder, Mike Rosales, Connie Woodruff, Catherine Lucero, and myself, Cruz Ochoa. Trustee Lucero, would you please introduce the JROTC for this evening?
Good evening. This evening, the color guard is from Del Valle High School. The color guard commander is Cadet Samantha Villa. The other color guard members are Cadet Luis Compian, Cadet Angel Appelzaler, Cadet Daniela Esparza. The pledge leader is Cadet Victor Villarreal from Del Valle High School JRTC. Will you please stand for the presentation of colors, the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance, the Texas Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. This evening, we would like to observe the moment of silence for those who lost their lives and those who gave their lives 18 years ago today on 9/11. We will never forget.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, please join me in the pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you. And Trustee Lucero, do we have any citizen input?
Yes, we do. Mr. Carlos Fuentes, please.
Good evening, board and fellow attendees. My name is Carlos Fuentes. I'm a lifetime resident of El Paso, Texas, and down here in the neighborhood of Thomas Manor. My kids, I went to school in Sleda. My wife went to school in Riverside. My kids went to school in the Sleda district, and my grandkids and nephews and nieces are going to school in the district. My concern today is something that's been in the news for a long time besides what happened to us here in El Paso last month. My concern is school security. And I want to find out what, if anything, is in the works by the board or the district or the community to protect our youngest ones in the schools. When I go to schools to pick up my kids, I was a lifetime railroader, and my job on the railroad was to seek and find and prevent accidents, stuff like that. That was my job as opposed to being a railroader. I did safety prevention, slip, trips, and falls, possible. On the railroad, things that happen are always bad accidents. It's never little things. When you get hurt there, you don't go home. So that's just a bad habit of mine. Everywhere I go, I'm looking for, that's the spill, somebody's gonna fall, or that's a sign wasn't cut properly, somebody's gonna hurt themselves. But when I go to the schools, I feel good when I go to Riverside or one of the games and I see visual deterrence. Something that keeps somebody that comes in there that wants to do bad things and see it and he walks away. Because bad guys are not stupid. And they're not mentally ill. They are very rational people. And they decide what they want to do, when they want to do it, and they take advantage of situations where somebody has let their guard down. And my concern is that I see these visual deterrents at the high schools, but I don't see them at the elementary schools, which is where our most vulnerable population is. Our most precious cargo is the little ones. And they have the least capability of defending themselves, escaping, hiding, whatever. And it breaks my heart when my grandson comes home and tells me, "Grandpa, we had a lockdown and I was afraid." And he's afraid the whole night, and the next day he might be okay. And this is the reality. And what I want to find out is there something in the works for that? And why is it we don't see it in the elementary school? Is there something with, what is it? Why aren't they there? Usually when I ask a principal or I ask somebody at the school administrator, and they say, "Well, we have these doors, people got to come through here, check in their IDs and do this and that." But somebody that wants to take advantage of innocent lives doesn't come in and checks in. He waits at the most opportune times, which is before they go to school or when they're leaving school in the chaos, when everybody's just concentrating about just getting home or going to McDonald's or whatever they got going that day. And I want to find out what, as a community member, and what can the community do to change this as immediately as we can. To me, safety, it should be the #1 priority. And if that's the case, I don't know. I've only been here at this podium, the last time I was here was 19 years ago. When my kids, we were trying to get permits to do some PTA stuff a long time ago. But I want to know, is there somebody that can reply to that, or somebody mail me a response, or is there any discussion about that? Because I have some questions about that also.
Normally during this part of the board meeting, there isn't any dialogue back and forth, but
Okay.
I'm going to have Mr. Basurto meet with you before you leave, get your
Okay.
contact information, and either come out to see you or invite you to come in, and we'll go over all of the things that we have in place by
Okay.
grade level configuration and some of the things that we're doing around a safety audit district-wide at all 60 schools.
Okay, yeah, that's great, because I hear it when I meet with other teachers, other parents and grandparents, and they're all concerned and they're all worried. When you have to be worried about the color of your skin to go to school, that's pretty bad. So, and my wife says, "Well, if they're not protected, let's bring them home and we'll school them ourselves." And in my family, we're looking at 16 people that would go home to be schooled. And I don't think you want that to happen.
We did introduce a new program this year called Watchdogs, and the emphasis is on getting male role models, fathers, uncles, grandparents, to volunteer. The school pays for the training, and then we create a schedule, and every morning you'll have maybe 6 or 8 gentlemen out there at different parts of the neighborhood and around the school that are being vigilant and observing what's happening. And then they return after school. Oftentimes they enjoy it so much that they become tutors at the school, because one of the things that's true of elementary schools is that most of the faculty and staff is made up of women. And we have a lot of little boys that don't have good role models at home. So the Watchdogs is a twofold approach. One is for security, and the other is to have role models in and around them at the schools that can demonstrate how they should behave, conduct themselves, that type of thing. I don't know whether Thomas Manor has a Watchdogs program or whether or not they're pursuing it, but it's slowly being implemented. I know that 22 schools have expressed an interest, elementary schools.
And in those watchdogs, are there anybody that has had deterrent or firearms training or self-defense training or
Sometimes.
anything like that?
A lot of them are Border Patrol, Sheriff's Office. Some are just fathers that want to be, grandparents that want to be volunteers and help the school and the
Yeah,
children.
because I know about volunteering, because when we did that, I had my own business, so we volunteered 3-4 days a week at Thomas Manor when my kids were growing up. As a matter of fact, at one time, there was a sign over there, I won volunteer of the year for the male volunteer or something like that, and back in the 80s or early 90s. It was so long ago, I can't remember when it was.
Mr.
but-
Basurto will get with you and we'll
That'd be
set
great,
up a
because
meeting.
I am concerned about that, and I think that's something that needs to go to the front of the list, as far as I'm concerned, something
is
that
a
needs to be
priority.
done. Okay, thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.
Ms. Sylvia Ibarra?
Good afternoon, Dr. De La Torre, Board of Trustees. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak to you tonight. My name is Sylvia Ibarra. I'm a parent of 2 children at Alicia R. Chacon International School, and I'm here also on behalf of a group of parents from Alicia Chacon. They're sitting here in the front. You can see them. Many of us have multiple children that are attending the school and have been for several years now. As you know, Alicia Chacon is a K through 8 magnet school. It's a language school, has a dual language and a third language program. The school is nationally known for its special programs. We are here tonight to request that the district act regarding the many issues facing our school. We have been in discussions with district staff regarding building structural issues and also adequate air conditioning. So due to the structural issues, we understand that the district is considering relocating our school to another location. We also understand that the district may decide that the best option is to stay at our current location. We are here to urge the district to make a prompt decision, regardless. And we want to make you aware of our concerns so as you consider these options. If the district decides to keep the school at its current location, we urge you to move quickly because the school is in desperate need of repairs. District staff has known about the building's structural issues since January of 2019, and they have informed us that that building was cracking and sinking at a faster rate than anyone expected. Repairs to that building are currently underway. We are aware of that. However, we are into the 9th month of this process, and the district staff tells us they are still studying the issue. We are requesting that the other buildings that are also cracking be repaired before they begin to sink as well. Once the district makes a decision to keep us at the current location, we ask that you immediately move forward with the 2015 bond projects that were approved for Alicia Chacon. Those have not been initiated. The replacement of the school's HVAC system continually gets delayed and put aside because the roof is in such bad condition that it will not support it. So we're asking that the district repair the roof once and for all so that we can complete this 2015 bond project. If we are going to stay at that location, we ask that the school be repaired and renovated, that any deferred maintenance be completed, any necessary capital improvements be completed. If the district decides that the best option is to relocate the school, there's two things that we ask you, is that we get relocated to a better condition, an improved condition, not to a worse situation, and that we have adequate classrooms, that we have proper air conditioning wherever we may be relocated to. And the other thing we are asking, very important, is that we keep the school together. This school is K through 8. It was designed as a K through 8 school. It's part of the school's culture, part of the school's identity as a K through 8. And we are asking that if we do get relocated, that you relocate us as a group. You keep the elementary children and the middle school children together. We thank you for your consideration. We know that you have to consider a lot of issues. These are very difficult options. We know there's building capacity, there's operation efficiencies across other schools. We know that there's, of course, cost and money. And so we realize it's not an easy situation, but we urge you to give this priority and to take decisive action. We need some decisions. Our children deserve some decisions. We can't continue to keep putting this off. Thank you so much. I have a copy of my comments here.
Thank you.
Do you have
Thank you. That's all we have for public comment.
no more? Okay. The order of business shall be set out in this posted agenda unless changed by consensus of the board. Are there any items you wish to pull? Thank you. The agenda will be considered the consensus of the board. The order of the agenda has been approved. May I have an electronic motion and second on the consent items listed on the agenda as recommended by the administration?
Mr. President, I move to approve the consent agenda items listed on this agenda as recommended by administration.
I have a second, Mr. Richard Couder. Please cast your votes. The results are 7 in favor and none opposed. Policy action items. The order agenda has been approved. Are there any policy items you wish to pull for a separate motion or discussion? May I have a motion and second on the agenda items listed on the agenda as recommended by the administration?
Mr. President, I move to approve the policy items listed on the agenda as recommended by TASB with a SLEDA-specific language.
I have a second by Ms. Catherine Lucero. Please cast your electronic votes. Everybody cast their votes? Okay, votes have been cast. Results are 7 in favor, none opposed. That's it. Action items. Donations to Hanks High School. Is there any discussion? I have a word to say. I want to take time to personally thank Jerry and Phoebe Barone of LB Landscaping Inc. Incorporated for their generosity and their turnkey project in completely remodeling the Hanks High School Stadium press box. Thank you again. No further discussion. May I? Okay, call them. May I have a motion? All right, I'm the mover. Okay. I move to accept an in-kind donation valued at $7,500 to Hanks High School for renovations of the stadium press box. May I have a second? Mr. Richard Couder has seconded. Please cast your electronic votes. Votes have been cast. 7 in favor, none opposed. Number 2, designation of replacement trustee to represent district on El Paso Central Appraisal District CAD Board. Is there any discussion?
I volunteer myself as tribute. If nobody, I think it's an important position, and we need to take it very seriously. But if there's nobody else that is willing to step up for this next 2 months, I'm happy to do it.
Any further discussion? Okay, if no further discussion, may I have a motion? Ms. Woodruff.
Mr. President, I move that we approve Catherine Lucetto as the 2018-2019 replacement trustee to represent the YSD on the El Paso Central Appraisal District Board beginning on September 19th, 2019 until December 2019.
Mr. Couder has seconded. Please cast your electronic votes. Results are in, 7 in favor, none opposed. Item number 3, request to the Texas Education Agency for class size waivers. Using your electronic hand, is there any discussion? If no further discussion, may I have a motion? Mr. Couder.
Mr. President, I move to approve the district's submission to the Texas Education Agency for class size waiver to allow certain K through 4th classes to exceed the 22-to-1 ratio.
I have a second. Ms. Woodruff. Please, okay. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. Results are 7 in favor, none opposed. Item number 4, board resolution regarding the use of 2019 bond proceeds. Using your electronic hand, is there any discussion?
President Cruz, I have a question. On reading my board packet, there's line items that state safety, security, conversion of refrigerated air, construction of Hanks, replacement construction of Riverside Elementary, modernization of Bel Air, the new Scottsdale, rebuild of Dolphin Terrace. And when I go back and look at my paperwork and I see all those line items match up well, but I'm not seeing Riverside High School CTE program in the line items. And I'm just trying to get our Facility Advisory Committee for doing the hard work to make sure that we put that in there.
Good evening, Mr. Bustillos. Yes, the project is included. I'm sorry, it's not on? Hello? Yes, it is? Can you hear me now? So it is included in the life cycle renovation. If you notice, the paragraph below talks about other upgrades, life cycle improvements to district schools, facilities, technology infrastructure improvements, and upgrades to various facilities. So it's included in that broader category, namely because it's not a brand new construction of a facility that either didn't exist or demolition and reconstruction of a new facility. But it is included in the projects, just as the facility committee recommended.
There's no way we can have it amended to where it's added on there just to...
You absolutely, the board does have the discretion to amend the resolution from the floor. It needs a motion and a second, and then we add the language that you ask us to put in.
Okay.
Right?
Can we do that?
can we just have a little bit more discussion about this item and then we'll do a motion? Is that okay?
That's fine.
Go ahead.
Trustee Lucero would like to talk about it in general. And then at the conclusion, we can go ahead and amend and modify the resolution to reflect the Riverside High School CTE project as a standalone line item.
We'll prepare some draft language right now, okay?
Thank you.
So I had the pleasure of watching our board workshop on YouTube this past Monday. So I appreciate the discussion about all of the projects and the importance of our meeting coming up here next Tuesday. It gave me an opportunity to do some reflection. And I was thinking about my first meeting, and was actually to visit a school. And I went with Trustee Ramirez. I want to say we went to Ramona. There was new lighting put up. And Trustee Ramirez tells me, one of these days, press is going to be my school. And my reaction was, my instant reaction was, possibly like over my dead body or something like that. But I've grown a lot since then, and all of the discussions about the bond and about the safety at Alicia Chacon and all of our other schools, I think we need to start making the difficult decisions, the decisions that will affect our entire district. Because while I might represent in an elected fashion Del Valle, we all represent every single student here at the district. And so when it comes to making the decisions, for example, for Alicia Chacon, I think we do need to make a decision that is more immediate. I believe the parents need answers. And I think we need to do, while they won't be included in this resolution, I want you all to know that we will make sure to take action on our next meeting, hopefully next Tuesday. With that, the CT program there at Riverside, it's going to benefit all of our students at all of our comprehensive high schools, because we need to start thinking like that. We all represent each and every school in this district. And so I just wanted to note that tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Lucero.
Just to piggyback off of that, and as when I started 2.5 years ago, I think the whole CT program, I felt like it was put, not on my lap, but just kind of see it going. And with the help of this board, I think it's definitely gone from, I think we've set the numbers 150 to 500 students, and I know we're being utilized. And it couldn't have been done without all 7 of us. And I just thank everybody for taking part in that. It's a team effort.
Oh, can I just, real quick? I hate that we can't speak during public comment, because I always feel like I would love to address the comments that are talked about. So since we're talking about the bond, I want you to know that HVAC is one of the big priorities for our bond project. If you look at the proposed bond, it's a major part of the bond project is HVAC. We know that our schools are hot, and that whether you believe in global warming or not, it's happening. The city's getting hotter, the world's getting hotter. And so HVAC is an important part of the bond construction. And for the gentleman talking about Thomas Manor and other elementaries, security is also a huge part of the bond project. So we hear your concerns, and we hope that when you look at the bond project and consider it, you see that it is one of the most important parts of the bond project. Besides the beautiful new facilities we want to create, security and air conditioning and the comfort of our students and the safety of our students, more importantly, are 2 of the big priorities that we believe in. And we thank our facilities committee for putting those at the front of the bond project.
Thank you, Mr. Kuder. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Ramirez.
Thank you, sir. First off, I'd like to thank Trustee Lucero for her intense interest and her passion for this. And if you saw the discussion on Monday night, you saw I had what my concerns were. And so I will tell you that if the board's going to vote to approve this tonight, then there's no need for a Tuesday next week, because they've already decided on the projects, okay? Whatever that they're going to be, okay? My issue again, and I just like to state this again, is just I'm supportive of the bond projects. I'm supportive of safety and security. I'm supportive of the HVAC issues. I'm supportive of the new schools. I wish we could build more new schools. I wish we could do more for all our entire district. I still have a concern about the administration of of the bond. I think it's different than what we did in 2015. And again, I want to be able to look at the people out on the streets, I want to look at the folks in our schools and tell them we did exactly as we said. That's my issue this evening. And so I'm going to vote against this, but the reason I am is not because I'm not supportive of the projects. It's because I'm not supportive of the process that we're going through. And so,
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Any further discussion? Do I have a motion? Well, do we have the amendment?
She's got it.
May I read it? Susan? Thank you, ma'am. So the recommendation will change and contain the following. Approve adopting a resolution as presented and as revised in the meeting regarding the use of bond proceeds for certain bond projects if voters approve the bonds in the November 5th, 2019 election. The amendment or modification will be Roman numeral 8, renovations and improvements at Riverside High School CTE facility. I was trying to rename the school, River City. I like it. Again, 8, renovations and improvements at Riverside High School CTE facility. Will that suffice, sir?
Thank you. Yes.
So I read this one. So I make the motion? You can make the motion.
Thank you, sir.
May I have a motion?
Mover.
I have a motion and I have a second by Mr. Cudero.
And then I read which part. Okay. The recommendation
Oh,
to an improvement at Riverside High School as recommended by administration to approve and adopt the resolution as received in the meeting, revised in the meeting regarding the use of bond proceeds for certain bond projects if voters approve the bond
okay.
in the November 5th, 2019 election. Do I read the line item?
Yep. You're good.
Renovations and improvements at Riverside High School and CTE facility, line number 8.
Okay. I have a second by Mr. Cudero. Please cast your electronic votes. I have 7 in favor, none opposed. Item number 5, approval of award of solicitation number BD 19-02-RFQ.
Yeah, I think, I believe you have to approve the amendment first, and then you vote on the actual. Don't we have to vote on the amendment, approve the amendment, and then, or no?
Not if,
No, we don't?
not if the motion is changed.
No, because that's what Mr. Ramirez was asking. I was just
That's
asking
what
for
I'm
Mr.
asking.
Ramirez.
No,
okay.
because it's
Yes, there was no motion made yet, so there was nothing to amend. So the first motion on the floor included that language.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 5, approval of award of solicitation number BD 19-02 RFQ, Architectural and Engineering Services for Bel Air High School. Using your electronic hand, is there any discussion? If no further discussion, may I have a motion? Ms. Woodruff.
Mr. President, I move to approve award of YSD solicitation number BD 1902 RFQ with MNK Architects, Inc., as shown on solicitation documents for the architectural and engineering services for Bel Air High School, subject to final negotiations for a fair and reasonable price and contract terms, in-house council review, and Form 1295 certificate of interested parties.
I have a second by Mr. Kuder. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. 7 in favor, none opposed. Item number 6, approval of award of solicitation number BD 19-02-RFQ, Architectural and Engineering Services for Hanks Middle School. Using your electronic hand, is there any discussion? If no further discussions, may I have a motion? I move to approve award of YSD solicitation number BD 19-02-RFQ with VLK Architects Incorporated, or next rank vendor per government code 2254.004 for architectural and engineering services for Hanks Middle School, subject to final negotiations for a fair and reasonable price not to exceed 6.0% for basic services and other satisfactory contract terms, in-house council review, and Form 1295 certificate of interested parties. I have a second for Mr. Kuder. Please cast your electronic votes. Votes have been cast. Results are 7 in favor, none opposed. The Board of Trustees has determined that a closed meeting of the Board of Trustees is required to discuss the items set forth in the posted agenda for this date. Such closed meeting is authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Section 551.001, including but not limited to the sections and purposes covered by the following sections of the Texas Government Code: 551.071, 72, 73, 74, 76, 82, 127, 821, 83. Should any final action, decision, or vote be required with regard to any matter considered in the closed session, the final action, decision, or vote shall be in the open meeting or at a subsequent public meeting with notice. The board will now move to the Rio Grande room for closed session at 6:42. I reconvene this meeting of the Board of Trustees with Charlie Bustillos, Richard Cuder, Soltero Ramirez, Mike Rosales, Connie Woodruff, and we have Catherine Lucero, who is, no, this was from last time. And Catherine Lucero and myself, Cruz Ochoa, at 7:49. Action after closed session. Item number 1. Where's item number 2? Don't we have Champagne's number 1 first?
It's not on there.
It's not on there.
Just go ahead and, go ahead and call for a motion on that.
Okay, item number 1, we have the summated evaluation from our internal auditor. Is there a motion?
Mr. Safi, maybe you can speak to this to help us out, because she's saying that we can't.
Right, it's your agenda language provides that any closed session item, the board can take action on it when it reopens. And this is one of those items. It was on the closed session agenda, and pursuant to the agenda on the agenda language, it says you can take action on it. That's what I understand the board is doing at this time, and that's completely permissible.
I have a question. Mr. Safi, I'm just curious, on the item 10 where it says closed executive meeting, it lists item 1 and item 2 as a summative evaluation and then the rate 41 issue. But then on the action after closed session, it only shows item 1.
That's correct.
Which is the rate 41.
But the agenda language states that should any final action, decision, or vote be required in the opinion of the school board with regard to any matter considered in such closed meeting, then the school board may take action, decision, or a vote on a matter posted below for closed meeting when it reconvenes in open session. And that's the agenda language I'm referring to.
Would it have to be a voice vote then, or because it's not on the actual? Okay.
That's what I would do.
Okay, well, we need, oh, he's writing the motion.
I have the motion. I have the motion. All you do is just call for it. Sorry.
All right.
I have the motion.
Okay. I have a motion for the,
Okay, there you go.
okay, may I have a motion for item number 1, summative evaluation?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the 2018-2019 summative evaluation of the internal auditor as compiled by the board president and discussed in closed session.
I have a second by Mr. Cuder. Would you please cast your votes? Results are in, 7 approved, no, 0 no's. Lost for words. All right, item number 2, interlock agreement with Rate 41 group members for the purpose of participation and intervention in the Public Utility Commission of the Texas PUC proceeding related to the sale, transfer, or merger of El Paso Electric Company and engagement of the special legal counsel. Using your electronic hand, is there any discussion? If there's no further discussion, may I have a motion? Mr. Cuder.
Mr. President, I move to approve and authorize the superintendent to enter into interlocal agreement with other El Paso County school districts and like entities to participate and intervene in Public Utility Commission of Texas, PUC, proceeding related to the sale, transfer, or merger of El Paso Electric Company to Sun Jupiter Holdings LLC and IIF US Holding 2 LP, entities related to JP Morgan's Infrastructure Investments Fund, PUC docket number 49849, joint report and application of El Paso Electric Company, Sun Jupiter Holdings LLC, and IIF US Holding 2 LP for regulatory approvals under PURA statute, is that what it would be? Statute 14.101, 39.262, and 39.915, to engage special counsel at the law firm of Hush Blackwell to represent the district in the matter and to make appropriate budget amendments for the district's estimated cost of legal representation.
I have a second by Ms. Connie Woodruff. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. Results are 7 in favor, none opposed. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
There you go.
Adjourn. That was a
That was a mouthful.
I
You weren't
know.
joking. No wonder Catherine wanted me to read it. She was like, you read that.